Hey Hawkeyes, it's Sophia DeWard here reporting for cross-platform journalism from the University of Iowa. So today I want to talk about a merger deal that's happening between T-Mobile and social media network Yik Yak for about $225 million in cash. The deal is set to go down around the second quarter of 2017, and both parties seem really optimistic. The CEO of T-Mobile, John Legere, in a press conference said that he really can't wait to work with their tech team, and they feel like they're really going to create something that's going to blow the major competitors like Sprint, Verizon, AT&T just out of the water. And then on the other hand, you have Yik Yak CEO Tyler Droll saying that they really can't wait to work with T-Mobile, and they feel like this is really going to help accelerate their distribution in all things mobile, social, video, and just like native advertising in general. So they both seem really optimistic that this is going to enhance their brand. But now let's take a step back kind of and look at this deal and look at the two teams that we're dealing with. So on one hand, you have T-Mobile, which according to their website, is starting to brand itself as the Un-carrier, which means that it's kind of done away with these really complicated, really expensive contracts, data overage charges, and data caps, according to their website. And they're also valued at about $6.8 billion, so I would say that strategy's been pretty successful. An interesting thing to note is about 2/3 of the shareholder of their company is actually owned by a German telecom company called Deutsche Telekom, so they own a majority of the company. And then on the other hand, you have Yik Yak, which according to the website is a hyper-localized, anonymous-based social media site that lets you connect with anyone within a 5-mile radius of you. It was created by two Furman University grads, Tyler Droll and Brooks Buffington, and it was released around the November of 2013. An interesting thing to note about Yik Yak is that it's actually recently come into some hot water because of the app's synonymous association with online bullying, and they've actually had to install something called a geofence for certain high school and middle school campuses that don't allow the app to be accessed or downloaded while on campus because students were making threats and issuing violent threats against the school that the school administration had to obviously respond to very seriously. So that's a little bit of baggage that it comes with. But having that said, let's kind of look at the deal that we're walking into. So when you're looking at a deal like this, we can put the Yik Yak at the value of about $225 million, which is the asking price. And then in the press release, it cited that it has about 400 million active users. Having that said, let's kind of compare that to some of the bigger names in social media. So according to Business Insider, Snapchat is valued at about $16 billion and has about 150 million users. There's Facebook, which is valued at about $15 billion and has 1.23 billion users. And then you have Twitter, which is valued about $8.5 billion, but then has about 319 million users. So it's not exactly fair to compare Yik Yak to these big names because this is like the top dogs of social media, so let's make it a little bit more fair. And compare it to a kind of a deal that went down in 2014 that Forbes reported on with an app called WhatsApp, which is a communication app that says at the time it had about 450 million users. That's just pretty comparable to Yik Yak. However, it was purchased by Facebook for about $19 billion, according to Forbes. That doesn't exactly add up to what we're looking at with a $225 million deal. So why is this price tag so low? What's so different? Well, when you're looking at the gritty details of a deal like this, it's important to look at what's being sold and what's not being sold. Right now, what's not being sold is the intellectual property for Yik Yak. They're going to be handing it off to a Sherpa LLC. And what that means is that includes all patents and pending patents. It doesn't seem like a big deal because Yik Yak doesn't have any patents or pending patents. But that is a big deal because after T-Mobile purchases it, they have the technology, but there's nothing stopping those major competitors that they're hoping to surpass, Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, from coming in and creating the exact same platform with the localization and anonymity. There's nothing protecting that. So they can really just come in and kind of do the same thing without buying it for $225 million. When we asked the communication director for T-Mobile about this, he said he wasn't concerned because he's not really interested as much in the platform as much as it is the user base. It's that user base. In the press release, it was cited that Yik Yak is present on about 2,200 college campuses. And that's the demographic that T-Mobile is looking to tap into. It wants to really penetrate those younger generations and those college kids. But then, if you do a little bit more research, you come to find, according to App Annie, since Yik Yak was created in 2013, 2014, it has since really fallen in the charts as far as downloads to 447th most downloaded app. So it's really starting to lose some traction, not to mention that it's got a lot of negative associations with it. When we asked Matt Jacobs, the Yik Yak representative, what are you guys gonna how do you feel about these low numbers and this dropping rank? And he said, well, you don't look at the numbers all the time, which is fair. You have to look at the technology and what's coming with it and and he feels that's what's gonna really benefit T-Mobile. But which was an awesome answer. But then you have to let's go back and look at that technology. It's not patented, and there's if we remember, there's major publications like Huffington Post, Cosmopolitan that are running articles all about how to get this app off your college campuses because of it's bringing too much negativity to college campuses and they want it gone. Whether they'll be able to do it or not is an issue of free speech, and that's for a completely different vlog. But the point is they want to, and they're trying to, and then that's going to keep gaining traction, and that's going to get media attention, and that might not be something T-Mobile necessarily wants to align themselves with. So, I see, the way I'm looking at it is at best, T-Mobile's going to walk into this deal and get a 450 or 400 million person user base with a platform that's synonymous with slander and gossip. Or at worst, they buy this deal and they don't even get the user base at all. I think that T-Mobile should just stick to their Un-carrier branding strategy and really focus that directly on the college students, because it has a lot of things that college students would enjoy and would benefit from. No hidden fees, no overage charges, and they just really should kind of focus on that instead of trying to purchase this dying company as a way of trying to reach the millennials. And that's my 2 cents on that. Thank you so much for listening.